Hey, it's Kara again. Hey, listen, this is where we break down all the parts on Cat on a Caper. This is one of my original pieces, and you should have already seen a version of this that I played where I was backing myself on the guitar and holding my breath and playing rhythm for you and all this kind of craziness. This lesson is about breaking it down and talking to you about how to play it. I write these pieces, and just because I write them doesn't mean that I can play them, which is the beauty of the whole thing, right? I write these pieces, and then I have to learn them. And we're gonna talk about this right off the top of the subject here, that the hardest part I had about this was figuring out how I was going to get the first two measures. Okay, I cannot tell you how many times I had to practice the first four measures. Now, the killer deal for me, the deal breaker, is if I start that very first five with anything other than my pointer finger on my left hand hitting that note, fretting that note for me, I'm doomed. I tried it a bunch of different ways. I'm also doing a pull-off on that 5-0 combination on the melody string. So watch that really slowly. This is the very first and second measure of the song, okay? 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4. Okay, let me do that for you again. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and pull off with my ring finger. Reach over with my middle finger. And then I'm set up to play that 5-6. And then everything has to come up in the air to land that 6 plus 5. So that movement right there, the 5-6 to the 6 plus 5, I bet I did that with my metronome a million times. And so should you. Okay? Don't beat yourself up if you can't play this as fast as I played it when I played it for you on the demo with my guitar in the background. Because this one's going to take you some time. It certainly took me some time. Like I said, just because I write them doesn't mean I can play them right away. All right, here's the first four measures, real slow. 2, 3, 4. Pointer finger. 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and now my fingers are exactly ready where they need to be to go down to that 3-4. Okay, and then the same two fingers are going to come up to the 5-6, and then everything's up in the air and switches. Okay, so that 3-4 is played with my middle finger and my pointer finger up to my 5-6, and then everything's up in the air and the fingers get switched. Okay, all right, let's try that again. Pointer finger on that 5, and everything will line up correctly for you if you do it that way. 2, 3, 4. Okay, that was a little bit sloppy, but you get the idea. Now, please remember, I practice every little segment of those first four measures over and over again a zillion times, and I'm still not playing them 100%. All right? The fifth measure on line 2 is 0, 2, 5, open. Now, that open string, that open melody string, exactly the same note can be found on the 3rd fret of our middle string, right? Sometimes what I'm catching myself doing with this, the more comfortable I get with the piece, instead of hitting that open melody, I'm going and hitting that note on the 3rd fret of the middle string. There's two reasons for doing that. One, when I do it like that, see how easily my ring finger goes to that 3 on the middle string? That's one reason. It's pretty easy to do. The second reason is tonality. When I do this, that melody string of mine right now, I don't know if it's the weather or what it is, but it's been real annoyingly bright for the last couple of days. Okay? And I kind of like that tone more than I like that tone. All right? Listen to the difference. Here's the fretted 3 on the middle string. It's got sort of a rounded ooh to it. My melody string It's like a tss, like that to me. Big difference, all right? So you can choose which way you want to play it. I'm just kind of cluing you in. You might see me play it 2 or 3 different ways when I did that demo for you. Now the last measure in line 2, that's a fairly simple move. Okay, then the third line, I'm going to go ahead and pull my 1 off to that 0. Okay, now this is not an easy move, especially up to speed. Okay, we're coming from here, and we got to get that 6-5. Luckily, our fingers are in exactly the same position that they need to be to get the 2-1. Okay, so line 3 again. Okay, I'm going to play the first section for you again a little bit faster. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and... Now, I've talked to you about playing the chords in other videos. Let's go over those chords really quick. More often than not, I'm using my flat pick to get that boom chop sound. Remember that this is a hit and mute. And you can see my... There's kind of like a down force when I want the chord to sing, and then I lift up when I don't want the chord to sing anymore, when I want to dampen it. Now, every time I lift up, remember, I'm not lifting all the way off my strings. It would sound like this if I did. That's not what we want. I want to maintain contact, but just mute them out a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm also, when I'm playing the chords on this piece, I'm using all my inversions. I'm playing a 7-5-5 for my B minor, a 5-3-3 for my D, my F sharp major, I'm just playing 2s across. My E minor is a 5-4-3, so I'm staying right around that area because I believe that those give me the best sounding backing tones. Okay. All right. So if we start on line 3, and I'm going to work us into the B section of this, the fingering actually makes more sense than what it would appear to. Here's line 3, the last part of the A section. Okay, so right now I'm playing that 2 and 1. I've got my middle finger out of commission. It's out of work. A lot of times I exaggerate putting my finger out like that so you can see it on the videos. Normally it would be more relaxed, okay? 2 and 1. What I've got to do next is I've got to go up to that 3-3 and then the 2-3-2. So I'm going to take these 2 fingers, okay, and I'm going to take them up. Once again, my middle finger's out of a job here. I've got my pointer finger and my ring finger on the first pair of 3s, and I'm going to take my ring finger down to the 2 and back up to the 3. So it'll sound like da 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 da. Okay. Again, I worked really hard to figure out the best fingering for myself on this, and I'm sharing that with you now. You might come up with a better way for you. Okay. Now after that, we've got to switch. And what I'm doing when I go to that B minor section, the 1 and the 2, I'm using my middle finger and my index finger on the 1-2 and sliding to the 2-3. And then my ring finger's right behind him to catch the double 2s. Okay? Now you're always leaving your 2s down. That 3's coming up and down to expose the 2. Once again, my ring finger is going to go from 2 down to the 1. Okay? All right, so far what we've got on that is we've got pointer finger and ring finger. I'm going to take my pointer finger and he's going to guide my ring finger up to the 5th fret So I've got 6 plus and 5. And then my ring finger is going to dance from that 5 to that 6. Like that, okay? When I put him back on the 5, that measure of 5, 0, 6 plus 0, my fingers are already in the right place to do it, okay? Let's talk that through again. This is line 5. I've got that 2 and 3, playing it with my middle finger and my pointer. Okay. Now to get to the 6 plus and the 5, I'm going to let this ring finger slide up my middle string all the way up to the 5, and I'm going to let my pointer finger guide it to where my pointer finger is on the 6 plus. And then my ring finger gets to go back and forth, and then he settles there while I pick this. And notice I didn't move any of my fingers to get that 5, 0, 6 plus 0. They were already there. Now, I've given us an open string so that we can readjust and go bop, ba-dee-up, bop. Ba-da-dum. There it is. Okay? I'm making all of those moves with these 2 fingers. Okay? From there, I'm using my pointer finger and my ring finger again to get my double 3s. Okay? So we're going to start now on line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Line 6, where we got the fancy little boopity boops on that 5. Okay, and once again, I'm going to use these 2 fingers to do it. 2, 3, 4, bop, ba-dee-da-da, da-dee-da-da, da-dee-da-da, da-da-da-da. Okay, now, once again, I think I've told a lot of you this when I see you in live workshop classes. On all of my original arrangements, anytime I have to make a weird adjustment, I'm going to do everything I can to try to incorporate an open string before I have to shift, because that open string is going to ring and give me room and time to get to the next position. Okay? So, from that 5, 4, 5 pull-off, hammer-on pull-off combination, again, and that allows me to get in position for the next move, which I've already told you how to play it. Okay, now the second to the last line, what I have found, and it's not the way I thought originally that I would figure this to be the best way for me to play it, but I am playing that 2 with my middle finger, and then I'm grabbing the next 2 on the middle string with my ring finger, and then I'm doing index on the 3, and then replacing my ring finger with my middle, like that. It's very strange, but it works for me, and it's the way I could play that the fastest. So middle finger, index, middle finger, ring finger grabs this, index, middle replaces, and then ring. Okay? And I think the reason that my ring finger was making that crossover for me, instead of going and just using these 2 fingers to do it, that next 2 comes really fast, so I needed a spare finger to grab it. Okay, so let me do that second to the last line for you a little bit slower. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 1. Last line, 2, 3, boom. Okay? All right, let's play this from the beginning with the metronome on. I will find my handy-dandy metronome. All my students hate it, but the metronome is what? The metronome is your best friend. Let's slow this way down in comparison to the version I did where I was letting my guitar back me. Okay, let's take it to an even 88 right there. All right, maybe turn that down a little bit. There we go. Okay, we're going to take the whole song, the tablature, from the very beginning, and I'm going to try not to make any mistakes, okay? 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and... repeat. Oops, that's mistake number 2. Before we close this up, I'm going to give you a chord-only version that you can play along to if you want to practice to that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. F sharp. Repeat. Here's that G. Comes the F sharp. I'm going to hit this B minor one time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. One thing you'll notice that I do a lot when I'm backing this style is I take every opportunity to slide between my chords. Okay? If you're going from a 3-3-5, or a 5-3-3 I should say, up to a B minor at a 7-5-5, one way to do that is I always imagine that I'm trying to get my 5-3-3 up to the 7-5-5, and there's a big heavy weight on my hand and it's holding my hand down. So I hit it and I gotta maintain contact with those strings with a certain weight on them so I can hear that slide. Okay. The other thing you might see me doing if I'm going to a 5-3-3, I might enter it from an F sharp minor like that. And once again, back to the F sharp, into the G, like that. Okay. All right, have some fun with this one. Be sure to let me know if you have any specific questions about anything. You can always find me on social media. Pop me a message and say, hey, I didn't quite understand what you were doing on line 3. Can you please explain that to me? And I'll go, of course I can. That's what I'm here for. Okay. Thank you so much for playing along with me, and have a great time with this piece. Let me know how you're doing. Bye-bye.